I just kind of inherited it through band rehearsals, and yeah, one of the band guys just said, "Hey, you can have that head." It didn't work, but then I brought it back to life. All right, so this is a Yamaha G100ii, and from what I know, it was made around 1981 or 82. It was made by Soldano, from what I've been told, and it's a solid state amp. It's 100 watts, hence the name G100. It's got a wonderful clean sound. It really emulates a Fender tube amp clean very well. I don't use the distortion channel for anything. I mean, it's usable, but I don't use it because I have all these great amps that distort, in all kinds of different ways.
You thought it was one of the first attempts at a tube emulation?
Yeah, I think it was up there. I think Sun Amplifiers had a good run with creating solid state amps that sounded like tube amps, but this was another run of that, and it has its own tone from what I can tell compared to Sun amps that I've played. So definitely reminds me of my old Vibrolux. So, that's pretty cool. I'm going to be using this thing real soon in the studio again, as I have 100 times for a clean sound. So it's got great tone. Doesn't have all the dynamic that a tube amp has, but it's got a great tone.
Let's see the back of it real quick.
Yeah, let's turn it around.
These have a little bit more complicated circuit boards than the tube amps most of the time, because it's all locked up back there. But
yeah, not much to see. I mean,
filter capacitor probably right there, right at the power supply. Transformer. Not sure what this is. It almost looks like a fan of some sort.
Yeah.
Caution.
Yeah.
So it's got a direct output. Foot switch. Okay. Oh, dude, it's this is very fucking interesting right here. It's made in the Nippon Gakki factory. That's where they made their FG acoustic series that's so sought after. Looks like there's a signature right here too.
Well, serial number for sure.
Serial number is 2352. If anyone wants to look that up and help us out with this.
Yeah, I mean, from what I know, Soldano designed it. I might have said he built it, but I meant he designed it, and it was made in Japan, which nowadays is pretty cool.
That is a legendary factory. They made some awesome Red Label series acoustic guitars like the FG100ii and so on and so forth.
Yeah. It almost looks like a tube, but I mean, I know that it's not.
Yeah, it looks like it could be a filter capacitor too, like a whole, maybe even two of them side by side back there. Looks like there's more back there.
Yep, pretty wild. Pretty awesome.
Cool.
Okay, man. So just comparing the G100 Yamaha 1982 built by Soldano, I believe, when he worked for Yamaha, before he started making tube amps maybe. This is the solid state amp, so we're comparing this solid state to this Budda, mid-90s Budda Verbmaster 30. So let's put a little reverb. I think the G100's got some verb on it, so let's put a little verb. So we're on the clean channel, similar EQ. You can hear the tube amp's got a different tone altogether than the solid state. They both are fun to play. I don't usually like solid state amps. I do like this G100. Definitely some beefiness that gets taken out with the G100. Let's see if we can add some bass in middle. I've got the bright switch pulled. Oh, this is a fat. Let's pull the volume out to get a fat. And let's see if we can match those a little better. Still a different tone, which is cool, which is great. I love for amps to have different tones. I would hope that justifies me having a bunch of different amps. If they all sound the same, I could only have one, but Once the reverbs are really rich, let's turn this reverb up. You know, kind of a surfy reverb on this one, actually, on the G100. It's on 5, a lot of reverb. This G100 reminds me a lot of my Vibrolux that I don't have anymore. That's really cool. I didn't even realize that till now. And this 30-watt, you know, 6L6 tube amp, 6L6 in the power section. Let's reverb it out. So the real reverb tank, digital reverb. Oh, no, both real reverb tanks. There you go. More definition from the tube amp, which we always hear. Definitely more definition, more clarity, but a great tone from the G100. Once again, you know, we can let's record A and B at the same time. Always a great sound, always a great sound. Too much reverb for some things, obviously getting a little carried away with the reverb, but obviously you can adjust that real easy. Alright, we're going to set the amps up for distortion and come right back with a comparison on a different sound. So, no matter what I did, you can't deny that the tube amp just smokes the solid state amp when it comes to overdrive. It's hard to play. This amp sounds great for clean. Like I said, it reminds me of my Fender Vibrolux, my 72 even. The tone of the clean channel, the distortion channel it's usable, it's passable. You know, let's start down a notch, and it's but no comparison. The real authentic sound is going to be from your tube amp. So 30 watt Budda with 6L6 power tubes, solid state G100 made in the 80s by Soldano. So we have heard. So you know what I would actually use this A and B setup for. We compared the two amps. So we've got a really different sounding amp from this amp to this, and you know, I'm going to use one for my overdrive and one for my clean. So let's go back, and actually this is how I would use this on stage. I would use the clean and crunch and lead from this. So let's see if we can get a little more fatter frequency out of this clean tone to kind of even out our switching here. So we've got a broader EQ bump on, oh, looks like, let's go down to 180. All right, and all right, now we are going to compare two Buddas from the 90s, the Twinmaster and the Verbmaster 30. So I believe this is 18 watts with EL 84s and 18 watts, and then 30 watts with two 6L6s in the power sections. So 18 watts and 30 watts. So we are on B Budda, this side. Let's see. And we are running through this 312, so we're going to get a lot more body from the cabinet, but hey, that's all right. So, you know, obviously live I'm gonna be feeling that for my rhythm. But I think we'd like the 18 watts for the lead sound. I mean, they're both great lead sounds, but 18 watts. This gives us a lot more sustain at, you know, immediately. We got to really crank the 30 watts all the way up. So obviously that's what the 18 watts for in my book. That's what I use it for as a lead sound, live, studio even. And this thing sounds great for leads as well, of course. But let's see if we can even those back out. Okay, so this is my Budda Verbmaster 30 from the 90s, late 90s, I believe. It's got a high gain and a normal input. Volume, treble, bass, that's it. These are both reverb, so bass, treble, volume, you gotta love that. Not a lot of options to screw up, just high gain or normal. Sounds great, as we just heard. You know, from what I know, these guys were building the amps for 10 years, or, you know, I'm not sure about that, but I know they got bought out by Peavey and a lot of things changed. I know one of the builders, Jeff Bober, went to his own amp company called East Amps, and I believe it's an extension of this amp, but from what I know, this is a Class A, hand-wired point-to-point, you know, fire-breathing monster. Just still do any mean to clean sound, anything in between, just anything you need. What a wonderful amp. And then, you know, back over, we were also looking at the 18 watt, I don't know, I won't say version of that amp, but there's some similarities. I mean, volume, treble, bass, the Twinmaster, same two inputs, same three knobs, no reverb, different power section. You know, it breaks up a lot quicker than this one. You get a lot cleaner sound out of this with the different power tube sections, but a lot of the same tones. Insanely wonderful dynamics, both Class A hand-wired point-to-point amps, just really great amps.
Who uses them?
You know, I don't really know who used them. I've used them since the 90s. They've been my favorite amp since the 90s.
I know Joe Bonamassa uses them.
Yeah, I bet you a lot of guys have Buddas, but that's something to look up. East Amps, check out East Amps because they're the same guy that hand-wired these is hand-wiring East Amps.
It's got a fuse in the front, too. That's a little different.
Fuse in the front, yeah. The go and the rest. Go, rest buttons.
Purple lamp in the front.
We got Budda on both. The Budda logo. Yeah, I don't know what year Peavey bought them. Might have been 2000 something, 2000, early 2000s, I believe. But from what I understand, they did change over time, and were probably still very cool amps, but just not the same, probably not hand wired, maybe one at a time anymore. So